Welcome back to People and Purpose podcast. With me today is our VP of Logistics at GMG, Gilbert Zeid. Good morning, Gilbert.
Good morning,
How are you
Razan.
this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
As VP of Logistics at GMG, can you take us through your main responsibilities and scope?
So at GMG, I had Trilogy Logistics, which is our logistics business unit. We take care of all the inventory movement from the moment we raise APO with our principals all the way to the delivery to the end consumer. So we're talking about freight space planning, freight consolidation, customs clearance, the freight movement, the warehousing, custom value-added services, pick and pack, and the last mile delivery to either our end consumer or our stores.
Let me jump into our topic of today, agility in supply chain. Can you take us through how you can always stay agile in the current market climate of today or of tomorrow, the changing market climate, let's say?
So agility in supply chain starts from how we are organized in our structure. So having an agile structure where we have a control tower, a planning center, and an execution center gives us the agility to react with the market as well. So agility in operations has multiple aspects. First, we need to maintain a flexible logistics network to make sure that with any situation that arises at origin for freight movement, we have multiple partners that we work with to make sure we mitigate any risk, whether it's a different route that we take or whether it's a different mode of transportation. As an example, the Red Sea issue that happened recently, where we shifted from sea freight to land freight to make sure that we're still delivering within a cost-optimized manner, but in a much faster way to keep up with the customer's demand.
So how do market conditions actually impact supply chain? If you just help us take like a bit of an insight into, in people's mindset in generally, supply chain operates regardless of the climate because it just gives a service, right? But I believe market conditions do impact supply chain. Can you help us understand more on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. So market conditions helps in either creating a peak or a low demand in the market. So that market fluctuation has a ripple effect across the entire supply chain process. Whether we have a peak or a downturn, it's key to have the right demand forecasting to keep up with all the other plannings within the supply chain. The demand planning helps us in planning our space for the freight, planning our space in the warehouses, helps in planning the manpower required, and then definitely for the transportation.
You have lots of stakeholders, especially at GMG. How do you keep them involved, especially during the market changes?
It's critical to project the transparency for all key stakeholders. So whether through the weekly business reviews that are done with the working committees, whether it's with the monthly business reviews that are done with the senior leadership teams, or the real-time visibility that we project through the dashboards that we have, those ensure that all our stakeholders are aligned and understand the market implications, and any fluctuations in the cost, which should be projected in the landed cost as well, is taken into account.
And does it actually impact the planning that they would have originally budgeted for?
Yes, absolutely. So if we take sports for example, usually in order to launch new season at the store, we need full assortments. So if full assortments are not in place because of a delay in a particular shipment, then there will be another plan put in place with the right category team and the merchandising team to make sure that there's a plan B to launch the new season at the right time.
And how accurate is the budgeting process from a business against the market changes? Is it usually, assuming no force majeure is happening, would you say it's accurate enough for you to be able to budget equally?
Particularly no, and by default, a budget is a forecast, and by definition, the forecast is never accurate. So we always keep a small buffer versus the historical demand accuracy that we have received to take into account, and this is if it's BAU. Whenever we have market fluctuations, those cycles become more of a rolling forecast, and we review them on a monthly basis with the planning teams to make sure that the right plan is at least in place within 45 days.
What automation does GMG have at this moment in time? I know we have some state-of-the-art warehouses, but how are those translated into the different automation, let's say, options provided?
So we do have in our ecosystem lots of automation that has been put in place, whether we're discussing our warehouse management systems, our transportation management systems, the robotic process automation that we've done as well to remove all the admin work and automate it, or whether we're talking about the infrastructure of automation in our warehouses, where we have conveying systems, sorting systems, packaging systems as well. We have adopted technology in the core of our logistics business to make sure that human reliance is minimized and cost effectiveness is put in place with higher efficiency.
What automation challenges do you see today or foresee as you continue adopting new technologies?
So I think the first one is human resistance, for sure, if we talk about the human element. And this is where change management is key. And change management is critical to make sure that the adoption rate of any technology that we implement is actually a high percentage. Because what most organizations fail to do is implementation happen, but then no adoption. And there's always someone who is overriding the logic of the automation and thinking that they can outsmart the technology that is put in place. So this is a journey. It's not something that will happen overnight, but definitely the change management is key to make sure that adoption is at its peak.
So when you say change management, you're talking here adoption, which is obviously very important. But when people understand roles are going to become redundant when technology is adopted, how do you feed into that type of emotion? Because it's a fact, right? People are being replaced. So there are two types of resistance. One is adopting the change and one is embracing the fact. Are you seeing that as a challenge at all, or do you believe this is industry standards and it's a wider acceptance module that's happening versus one that you specifically have to handle?
So definitely it's becoming an industry standard where we see automation replacing certain redundant jobs that are happening by people. We're lucky enough in JMG because as our business grow, we need more and more people as well. So automation is coming not to replace people, but to replace the redundant tasks that we are performing. And we make sure that our hybrid model between in-house and outsource manpower is in place, and we're more and more reliant on in-house versus outsource as we automate and progress in our journey.
Okay, what challenges, I hear that everyone that adopts anything in technology faces challenges in the process of adaptation or in the process of implementation. What kind of challenges have you seen from a technology perspective?
So 100% right. Usually in any automation project, we will face challenges and teething issues during the implementation process. And it's key to make sure that implementation process is as seamless as possible, and then the transition that follows it. So during the conversations of any automation project that we are trying to achieve, we need to make sure that the right stakeholders within our organization are involved. And let's talk specifically about IT involvement in those projects, because we can believe that a certain technology solution is a good fit for our operational needs. However, it may not be a good fit for our system architecture. So we need to make sure that it fits in that ecosystem that we have within our organization in the most seamless possible way, and then make sure we tackle those challenges along the way, whether it is with our internal IT department, whether it's with the implementation partner or the solution provider.
How do you see logistics evolving in the coming 5-10 years, let's say?
I think we're entering a very interesting journey when it comes to technology. So the advancement in logistics will happen through the technological advancements that we're seeing, whether it's through AI, blockchain, Internet of Things, advanced analytics. All those will contribute to making sure that we have integrity within the supply chain, where transparency is given for our products, services, and data, to make sure that what we ordered versus what we received, whether we're a distributor or an end consumer, has been intact. and that transparency that's given can be projected to the end consumer to provide the assurances. For example, in our food business, as an example, of farm to fork organic products. And those are strictly to ensure the integrity. If we move into the AI models, where faster decision making can happen, faster routes, decrease in cost overall throughout the full value chain can be achieved but by crunching numbers and a lot of big data within a very short period of time. As an example, we were just discussing demand forecasting. Demand forecasting is usually for a long period of time. But with AI coming into place, we can start discussing demand sensing and have a positive reaction or a negative reaction, like having a fast reaction to the market on a day-to-day basis. And this is key for any organization to be able to have a sustainable and scalable logistics along the way while making sure that it's cost effective.
And how does this impact the variation between automation and actual manpower? Like, there are certain things that I presume humans still need to do. So how do you balance between such advanced technology and basic human needs within the business?
As we speak, I still believe we cannot rely 100% on technology. Because there are complex decision makings that needs to happen where human intervention is still required. If we take an example, Ramadan, during our part of the world, we have Ramadan period where it changes every calendar year, Gregorian year, and still forecasting models are not able to adapt to when it's happening within the trading calendar. So we still require human intervention when it comes to this. This is the software aspect of technology. But if we look at the infrastructure aspect of technology in the warehouses as an example, we have goods-to-person automation. So today we can have robots doing picking and packing on behalf of, instead of manpower, of human laborers, which will reduce the errors. Definitely make it faster, more efficient. However, the cost of investment is still relatively high versus real estate and manpower cost in certain regions.
Everyone talks about sustainability. It's a specific subject of interest to me personally. What sustainable initiatives have you been able to implement in logistics today, and how do you foresee that having a larger impact in the life of supply chain across the years in the longer term?
So sustainability is definitely in the DNA of our logistics business unit. At GMG, we made sure that we've invested in solar power, renewable water treatment plants. We've planted more than 1,000 gaff trees across certain warehouses. We've tested lots of electric vehicles, electric trucks, electric scooters, biodiesel. We adopted certain measures to make sure that we capture the volumetric data of every SKU that enters our warehouse to make sure that we're packing in the most optimum way, and then which helps us in reducing the transportation costs and the CO2 emissions as well. So we've taken lots of small steps, but overall they contributed in a very good way towards our sustainability goal. Definitely, as we progress along the way, and with the advancements in technology and manufacturing, the sustainable products that are in the market will become more cost effective. And with economies of scale coming in, we will be able to further adopt more technologies and contribute to our sustainability goals.
Great. Well, Gilbert, I have asked every question that I can possibly think of at my limited knowledge of supply chain. Do you feel our audience has or needs or can benefit of additional information that your expertise can bring to us today?
Sure, Razan. So at Trilogy, we're very diversified in the operations we're handling, whether it's through our cold chain, pharma, non-controlled medicine, and raw material for food, finished goods, or our sports business. I'm happy to announce that we started doing 3PL services outside the group with new contracts signed as well. So hopefully this would be the beginning of a new service that we can offer globally across all our locations.
Amazing news, Gilbert. I'm very happy to hear that. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.